Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
We're gonna put your name on the top right, but
Okay.
now you can introduce yourself to the viewers who are
Yes.
watching now. This is
Do I
live.
look at a specific camera?
No, just look at us. It's a conversation.
We're gonna-
It's
we're gonna-
just,
if you
wanna
just a
look at-
conversation.
We're going to
Okay.
switch between cameras for the public.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So we have a wide shot and we have a guest shot.
Okay, very cool. Hello, everyone out there on Twitch. I'm Allie. Allie Weis. I work at HOAS Digital Arts.
Did he spell it correctly?
Well, we can pretend.
Or
but
is it,
it's with one S. Wait, you were almost right. Yes.
There you go.
It's
Okay.
perfect. All right.
Brilliant.
Yes. So hello. Also to you three lovely
Yes. So
podcasters.
I'm Jerre. That's Janox and that's Espe.
Hi.
Hello. Very
Hello.
nice to meet you.
Welcome.
And if you want a cheat code, you've got the names on there as well. So so you get a little cheat if you want a cheat sheet.
I love it.
Yeah, a fan drew that up for
Janox.
us.
Oh wow, how
we're
cool.
we're a weekly gaming podcast, and this is one of the first times we're doing it live. so-
3 white guys complaining about games. There
Yeah.
you go.
That's
hey,
it in a
you
nutshell.
know, you gotta do it via a podcast.
Yeah.
Isn't that like the nutshell of podcasting?
It's
like
it's a
middle-aged
nutshell of
guys.
millennials.
Are there
Yeah.
any other podcasts?
Yeah, apparently.
Espa, do you like Red Bull? I see.
We're sponsored by Red Bull.
Yeah, we're sponsored.
There's a
Red
huge
Bull
fridge
Oh,
right
if-
here.
if you want
Would
a Red
you like
Bull,
one? We
I
have,
would absolutely.
We have
love
green
one.
ones, red ones,
Have you
blue
had-
ones,
have
and
you
a
had
normal
the green
one.
one
No,
yet?
but I would love to try one.
It's the summer flavor.
Ooh.
Cactus.
Hey, it's October, but it's summer.
Yeah, but the new
somewhere.
one is gonna be released soon. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
no.
Summer
There you go.
edition.
It's
Ooh,
ca-
really good.
cactus fruit.
It's
Yeah.
actually
It's-
really good.
Yeah.
I
It's
feel
kind of
very
addictive.
spoiled. All
We
right,
have a
I'm
fridge
excited.
full of them, so
Okay.
go bonkers.
Yeah.
I might come back.
Red Bull pumpkin spice when
Oh, man.
Or
Well,
what
the
about?
Can you imagine?
The winter one, it's not gonna be that
Yeah.
much different. I
Yeah,
guess.
someone says it's
actually.
summer in Australia.
Hey,
So-
it's like it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
it's summer somewhere.
So yeah, I'll introduce myself to everyone on Twitch, and also you lovely people. So I'm Allie. I work at HOAS Digital Arts and Entertainment, commonly called DIE,
Yes.
in Kortrijk, Belgium. So that is
Belgium.
where we are located right now.
yeah.
I previously was our community manager, so I did a lot with our students, both international and local students. Event planning. We have study nights every Thursday, which is really fun. We open up the campus to our students to work on their assignments. It's a pretty demanding.
LAN parties.
Yeah, LAN parties. We also have LAN parties.
You see the sparkle in his
Yes.
eye.
We have LAN parties. We have Nerf gun fights on occasion.
There's
we
a
have
skate
scavenger.
park here.
There is a skate park.
Like,
there is
how?
so there's an outdoor skate park. Walking, so you walk down the Leia River and it's like 10 minutes. And there's an outdoor skate park and there's actually an indoor skate park like
Right there.
Right there. So if I keep walking, I get there.
Yeah.
So very cool.
Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. It's in the United States.
Jeez,
Uh,
how did you end up in this shithole? I mean,
Hey,
Hey,
you're
Trump-
allowed to swear. You're allowed
Yeah,
to swear.
okay.
If you,
Trump
so-
said we're a shithole, so
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
You can go all the way.
Well,
to
Brussels
here,
was a shithole.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I
Dwyer.
love to read the chat.
Yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead. yeah.
that's why it's there.
Good morning, Baltimore.
I watched
Baltimore-
that movie.
Yeah, oh, it's the best. So
I don't know
sorry,
why, but I did.
because it's great. So I went to the screening, like just like the first showing of Hairspray, the musical.
yeah.
And my friends had gone to the premiere in downtown Baltimore. I was not in Baltimore at the time. And they saw like John Travolta and Zac Efron. And
Wow.
yeah, my 13-year-old self
Yeah,
was
exactly.
very upset and very jealous.
Wow, his fractured jaw is
Yeah,
really
what the
impressive.
hell?
What
The
happened
way
there?
they fixed it. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
such a weird
He
story.
looks so
Zac
weird right
Efron fractures his jaw, and they had to do
Oh, yeah, because
cosmetic
I didn't
surgery, and
Yeah,
now
nobody
he
knew.
It looks like he had like
really bad.
some work done, but it's for a
Yeah,
good
fractures.
reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because people thought they fucked it up, and apparently it's
It's just the only way to fix it.
yeah,
Yeah.
And his speech is actually a bit slurred
it's-
right
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
I really. When did that happen?
Like
couple
a
of months
week
ago? No.
like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
like
like
a
a month
month.
ago. Yeah.
Oh God, no,
Yeah.
I did not know that at all. but my brother loved his show that he did.
Which one?
They're like survival one. I never saw it myself,
Oh.
but he did like some survival thing. But anyway, the question about how I ended.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So how I ended up here. So I went to school in Baltimore, Loyola University. If anyone on Twitch knows Loyola University, Maryland. I studied psychology and philosophy. So I actually. I did not study anything game related, anything techie.
I'm guessing the options are quite slim if you want to in America.
Actually, no. There's a lot of like Savannah College of Art and Design. There's like Utah. I know Michigan. They have a strong. There's actually a lot of options, but
Yeah, Cal Arts are the reason why this is here is because of they saw Cal Arts and they're like, oh, that's kind of cool.
yeah, exactly. But growing up, I didn't really like. I guess I would consider myself back then like a cozy gamer. Like I played Animal Crossing. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games. That was my favorite
the Wii?
game. The Wii, Cooking
Wii.
Mama.
Wait,
But-
isn't there a Switch re-release?
No, they just kept making them,
Oh,
but
okay,
now
never
there's
mind.
like at the Japan Olympics.
All
and
right.
the
Okay.
whatever.
Never. Winter Olympics still.
Yeah,
the
so
Wii?
that was
Okay.
my favorite. But yeah, I didn't really grow up in a gaming environment. None of my friends were really gamers. And so I graduated college. But actually, in my last year of college, I was thinking about what I wanted to do. My plan always was to pursue a career in psychology, actually. And so I was thinking about getting my master's, PhD in psychology. And then I thought it really crossed my mind one day late in August to apply for a Fulbright grant. And it's basically an association between the U.S. and countries all over the world. So you apply to teach English or do research in another country. So I'd studied in Leuven as an exchange student for 6 months,
That's
I loved it.
But
That's
you still
a great
ended up in Belgium. How do you go
Yes.
through a list of Europe and
So-
go like, wait, Belgium? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I was, me and my twin sister, I'm a twin.
Oh, you're a twin.
We both wanted to go abroad, and our three options were South Africa, Cape Town, Dublin, or no, not Dublin, Cork in Ireland, and Belgium. And it was because
Why are those your three options?
And was
Because-
Leuven like the city as well that
Yes,
they
it was
recommended?
Leuven. So it was a direct connection with our university. So our university offered some partner schools,
okay.
and then we chose from that list. So KU Leuven was on that list.
Wow.
And so South Africa was unfortunately eliminated because my dad thought it was too far. And yeah, in case of emergencies.
Oh, yeah.
My mom was sick at the time, so also it just made sense
yeah.
that we didn't go that far, I guess.
that
Dublin,
far.
and so and so we were between Dublin and Belgium, and then we both really liked languages, and we wanted something totally different than what we had ever experienced
Oh, now
before.
you're stuck in the West Flemish part of
Yeah.
Belgium. That's
West.
Yeah, but
West
it's
Flemish.
totally different than
Oh,
Leuven,
it's
right?
totally different.
Yeah,
But
have people have pointed out the difference between actual Dutch and the things they say
oh,
here, right?
definitely.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I take an Algemeen and Nederlands class
Oh, look at that.
Oh.
Pretty
every
pretty good. Sorry.
elke week.
Okay.
Oh, Vrijdag.
Vrijdag, yes.
Well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Well done.
So
So
I
today.
Better than
so
my Dutch.
definitely not
There's
today. I'm
Only
definitely-
Belgians in chat, by the way.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Is there any? Well, a lot of people say that they know Baltimore and the Ravens, and that is so cool because
that's the side effect of being Belgian is because Belgium is so not interesting at all. We just expand our cultural knowledge
want
to
to go to
every
America.
side
We're
of
just-
the country.
we're just very cultured.
Uh,
We know stuff.
world.
Oh, and the Netherlands. There's hi
Some of us
Netherlands.
from the
I love the
Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right. Some people are musical nuts and
Yeah. So and then so I applied. I didn't think I would get it, the Fulbright grant, and then all of a sudden, I made it past the first round. Then I had an interview, and then I was chosen. So then I moved in 2019. I did a year as a English teaching assistant in psychology and social work, mainly in Bruges, and then. My colleague, who is the community manager at DIE, she was pregnant, and they needed somebody to fill in the gap.
Yeah.
And then I did that, which was super. I was so lucky, and I'm still super grateful for that. And then I did that, and as from last June, I switched my job title to the ethics coordinator in international game development because I'm really interested in the more psychologically, philosophically relevant topics in games. And
Wait, I think Rick told us about
Yeah.
that. Do you have your own podcast about the
Yes.
ethics?
yes, so we have a monthly live stream. So we stream on Twitch, just like we're
Yeah.
on
You
now.
You can plug,
Multi-
Shout
you
out
can
to
plug
Twi-
your.
Can you give a shout out to
Game for Thought.
Game
Yeah, but
for Thought?
That's the channel name. Or the channel name is DIE.
So yeah, the channel is host_DIE, I think, or it's
Host-
host_DIE.
Host DIE, host_DIE.
So
Can
what?
one of the mods figure it out and we'll
So what you need to, what you must now do.
like that.
Yes, it's either that or yeah. So
It's
it's either that or without the underscore. I don't know. But
Yeah,
so we
they'll
have
figure it out.
Yeah, we have a monthly live stream on Twitch. So every third Wednesday. So next Wednesday, the 19th of October at 8 p.m. CET. So Belgian time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
shout out
Um,
has been given.
Yes. Woohoo.
There's a follow button on top of the chat actually, so join us and follow. You
Yeah,
can
so
press
then
that
just
hot
click
button
that
now,
one
now
and
you
you're
follow. There you
following.
go. New feature from Twitch.
How cool.
Yeah,
So
it's a partner channel, so I think some
Quinty links posted
things
last-
are unlocked.
Wow. So yeah, we have the live stream every third Wednesday on Twitch, 8 p.m. About different ethically relevant themes. So next week we have race and representation in
Cool.
digital entertainment. We have somebody from Riot, somebody from or not Riot, Epic. We have
Who's
someone
also
from
here today, or the people.
No,
the
no,
person who
no.
was here?
It's a
Okay.
different, yeah, it's a
Okay.
different different panel. But we have inclusive recruitment this year, sustainability in digital entertainment. What else? AI generated art is also
the hot topic.
That's March's topic.
Yeah.
We have freelancing and finding stability. So a bunch of different topics that you can find. We have a playlist, Game for Thought, on the DIE. Someone says, who has the nicest mustache of DIE?
Yeah.
Bambi.
He just wants
Yeah,
him.
He wants
he mentioned
validation.
himself. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. He's
I
the
bet-
one with the mustache somewhere behind you. I don't know where he is.
yeah, I don't know anyone who has a mustache.
Oh.
Sorry, sorry,
No,
baby.
that's good. That's good.
But anyway, so there's the live stream, but also we have a podcast on Spotify. So I think I just found new co-hosts for that. Because our current co-host Ruth, if you're out
Oh,
there,
yeah, Ruth.
so Ruth graduated,
Yeah.
and Robin Rodet, who is a teacher at DIE, he also will step aside from the podcast for now. I think I found new hosts for that, and that's also every month on Spotify.
You mean us, of course.
Hey, I mean, we're here now. Why
We're here
not?
now,
Let's
yeah, yeah,
record
yeah.
one.
I'm gonna ask a bold question. Are you
Bold, bold.
Sorry.
Bald is no hair.
Bold question, of course. Are you considering staying in Belgium, like indefinite, or?
So
Well-
my answer my answer now is yes.
Yeah, because you haven't tried out every sauce yet at the frituur.
We were just having a conversation about that. Yeah,
Of
I haven't tried. There's
Curry
sauces.
mayonnaise. You haven't tried.
American, I haven't tried before.
Yeah, it's okay.
But
Not the best.
yeah.
Not the
So
best.
as
Samurai.
from now,
Yeah, samurai.
A
Yeah,
lot of
everybody's like
samurai.
samurai.
So my tier of like a bracket of sauces. The number 1 is samurai. Number 2 is yuppie, which I know very much
It's
it's
actual
divisive.
Dutch. It's
Yeah.
actually from the Netherlands. if
Yeah,
I'm
that's the
not mistaken.
Yeah, I think
yeah,
so.
yeah.
And
Bastard.
then number
Just
3
sugar.
is curry ketchup. But to be honest, and I just tried it last week,
But
which is shameful.
How do you find our mayonnaise in?
The American mayonnaise is so gross.
That's
It's
what I thought.
so-
I
Yeah,
heard
it
that
is.
before.
I
so-
hated mayonnaise all of my life, and then I got here, and then I saw people doing mayonnaise on fries, and I was
on
like,
everything.
ooh, but I'm never gonna not try
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
something. So I was like, I'll try it, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's just so different.
There
I-
are different rules here in Europe
Yeah,
where
yeah.
we can't put as much
then-
additives or hormones in meat or food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As
but
opposed to in America where there's no rules and
I
it's
think
like
it's
free for all.
Belgium has a
yeah.
law for mayonnaise. There's an
Specifically.
official law with what constitutes as being mayonnaise. If it isn't a certain way of preparation,
yes.
it is not allowed to be called mayonnaise.
Friet sauce.
It has to be friet sauce. It has to be yogurtnaise or whatever.
Yeah.
There's like a muscle,
Yogurtnaise,
but
yeah.
like mayonnaise, it has to be eggs, vinegar, oil, and mustard.
Yeah.
I
That's,
just love how
and then a little bit of, but there can be no yogurt in it because in American they add like yogurt to it.
Maybe that's why it's so sweet, because somebody asks why is it different or how is it different. I think there's a ton of sugar in it because it's so sweet.
Yeah.
B, I'm not convinced that they use eggs
No, they don't
because
use
it
eggs.
doesn't it just tastes eggy here,
No.
which I love because I love eggs.
I just
So-
love the fact that the chat's calling us out, like with Flemish and a foreigner. Let's start talking about fries.
fries,
It's a
yeah,
gaming
yeah.
podcast, you guys.
It's about anything.
I'm so sorry.
I
Hey.
briefed her like she can talk about basically
Yeah, it's-
anything.
Yeah,
True.
sorry, but
It's a free-for-all.
Game for Thought live stream. Please join next Wednesday. Please join us. It's going to be a really interesting discussion. I just moderated a panel with Voelker, who is the lead accessibility lead at Xbox.
Super
She's
cool
also
stuff.
she's also the co.
She should be on her way as well.
Yeah, she should. What time is it?
Like
yeah,
like in 15,
Soon.
20 minutes something. She should
Right.
be on
Great.
here as
Because Xbox hands down has the best accessibility
yeah,
options.
yeah, right.
I talked to someone at the fair last week who who has a company in giving accessibility options to disabled people, and I love it.
well. Yeah, it's amazing.
So we're gonna try to have them on the podcast
Yeah.
as well.
How's the cactus?
It is so good. I'm scared that I'm like gulping into the microphone, so I'm
No,
like,
no, no,
No,
no,
no,
no,
they're
no, no.
condenser
And even
mics.
then, there are some
Okay.
people who really like that. So.
I-
ASMR.
ASMR is a thing.
This went from a gaming podcast to a fry podcast to an
To
ASMR podcast.
We're basically
And also,
amaranth.
yeah,
We're basically
it's
Amaranth.
delicious.
yeah.
I really love the summer edition.
yeah.
No, seriously though, this is like
This is
delicious.
This is insane.
Chocolate,
Yeah.
really.
We've got watermelon as well. We've got
Ooh.
blueberries, and we've got the normal one.
Yeah.
The ones we don't have are the white ones. There's coconut and yellow, which is tropical
Yeah.
fruit.
Yum.
There you go.
Yum.
And there's
I'm
a
a-
new one soon.
I should be a sales
Yeah.
manager for this shit.
Hey,
Well, technically you
could.
are.
Yeah.
I am. Yeah, we're sponsored, so
you
They'll
could.
be glad that they dropped the fridge here. Yeah, yesterday. So,
Uh,
in terms
yes.
of games, because you said you're never like been a big gamer. Do you game today?
You know, it's funny because
it's
I
okay
was,
to say no.
It's
yeah,
okay to
well,
say no, yeah.
So I'm gonna say very not a lot, but it's funny because like recently I've been thinking in order to fully understand things and to like delve into this further, because I've been at DIE now for
3 years, right?
3 years, I think.
Wow.
And I'm learning a lot, and there's a lot that I don't know, which is nice because it's always a challenge and I can never be complacent. But to fully understand some of the things that I hear and talk about, I feel like it would be interesting to really like give it a go. And I think I would like it. I'm not saying that like,
Well, there's so many different aspects in gaming. I think
Yeah.
that's the hardest part to understand as a outsider, and maybe not you per se because you know gaming, obviously. But like, for example, if I have to explain to my parents, like there's multiplayer, there is like actual esports, there's single players, there's RTS, there's Animal
people are like,
Crossing,
slow
there's
gaming.
Yeah.
Candy Crush, there's actual slow gaming,
Mobile
there's
gaming,
mobile
cozy
gaming. There's
gaming.
so a game that I loved actually during Corona was Phasmophobia.
Oh,
I love
Horror games,
a
yeah.
good horror
Horror.
game.
Oh.
Yeah. So I had so much fun. And
Yeah.
the thing is, I was just doing it for like fun purposes.
Yep.
Sorry, yeah. But
Oh, it's
continue,
okay.
continue,
It's
continue.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I was
Steal
just-
my cups.
I was just doing it for fun purposes.
That's
And
what
I see a
gaming is
very interesting
for.
question. I'm gonna
Twitter.
answer it soon.
Yeah.
And the people that I was playing with, who were also my coworkers, were like, because I kept dying. I kept dying every single time because I kind of just like wanted to like make the ghosts angry. So I'd be like,
Pokemon
bruh.
stick.
Yeah. bruh. you bitch. And then Barbara would come out, and then I died and couldn't help the rest of the group with finding the things that we had to find. So, but yeah, that game was really fun. Animal Crossing still I love. Beyond that, I don't know if I can like honestly say that. Oh, like Among Us, like those little like.
But that's not little. It's a super big community, and it's still a super big part of gaming.
And
you don't have to be dismissive
games
about
like
it.
Among Us were great at getting people who don't regularly game to go in and play with their friends. And it's like the same with Phasmophobia. They kind of lowered the step and the difficulty for you to get into the game easier and just have fun with your friends.
Yeah,
because that's what games are really good at is this different way of having fun, especially during Corona. We were all on our own little islands trying to do something else than just stare at a Zoom screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Survive, basically.
I did. So I did a lot of that, and I also did a lot of Sketchful.io.
Oh,
the Pictionary.
Yeah.
I did a lot of Pictionary.
Scribble.io.
Yeah. Also Scribble.io.
And the Jackbox games, we did a lot of those. Did you try those ones?
Yes, I love that. Yeah. So in all, I would love, and I think that's one of my like goals for this year is to explore games more. Because I think it would also add to the job that I do.
Seems to me you like community games, especially.
Yes. I really love things that interact with other people, and like you feel like for example, the panel that I just was the moderator on, Anne McKinnon. She is the CEO of Wristband, and Wristband. It's a metaverse Web3 platform where you can basically join like virtual concerts together, and there's like a community feeling. You can walk up to somebody and
we had
talk to them.
Reinhard.
Yes,
we had Reinhard on here earlier today.
Ah, nice.
So
I just saw him.
Explain all that.
And like those kinds of things, anything that has to do with community and interaction, that makes me excited.
And
so,
do you understand the attraction that we have for multiplayers, or also like the competitive side? Because I imagine if you have LAN parties here, you have the Xbox Kinect people, or like having fun there.
Yeah,
that's me. And then after that, I can go shout at people for 8 hours in a multiplayer. So I'm all over the place. But
I am extremely competitive.
Oh,
so
okay.
I would really But I can imagine I would really love like competitive games.
But
like
even Mario Kart. Yeah, exactly. Because that's
I love Mario Kart.
I mean, there's no LAN party without Mario Kart.
No.
Even the SNES version or the new one, I don't mind. It's just it tickles
your fancy.
Oh yeah. It brings out the worst in you.
Especially that.
Yeah.
It's
I love. Who do you play as?
Mostly Toad, because I think he's cute.
I always play as Mario. I'm very
I'm a Luigi guy.
Oh yeah.
Peach.
Yeah. My sister always used to play as Peach.
Yeah. Since Rosalina. Actually, Rosalina.
Oh, there's this one.
I don't even know who Rosalina is.
She's the one from Galaxy with the stars bits next to her, and her emo hair with one eye covered. Like she listened to My Chemical Romance a lot.
There's this one there's this one game, a Mario game, where it's like Mario and Luigi going through these kingdoms, and everybody's like, "Oh, hey, it's Mario and." A green Mario? It's like the entire game, nobody just knows who Luigi is. It's like a long guy with also a message. Who is this?
Yeah.
So
and that's that one comic when they went to their mother. It's like, the two Mario brothers. And Luigi just, Mama, why you never remember my name? I'm sorry, Green Mario.
I love it.
Poor Green Mario. I really feel for that guy. Somebody. So I see a really cool question.
Yes.
Wait, it just
went. Yeah, it just went up. No.
But I think I remember it was like how.
How do you explain to your grandparents what you do?
So my I have one grandmother. She's almost 90. To be honest, if I asked her what she thinks I do, I'm not sure that she would. Yeah. She knows that I work at a university, but I don't know if she knows any further. My dad, so he also had like a very vague understanding of what I do. But then the last time I went home, he asked more questions, and I think he has a better understanding of it now.
There's a genuine
But
interest, which
yeah,
is
like
important.
he asked questions about it, which is nice. But yeah, as I said before, like my family, they were never really gamers at all.
Yeah, I mean,
and so
parents seldom are at this age.
yeah.
Can I ask? Yeah, there's so you
There's
two
some.
are the fucking exception to the rule. Can we ask what
we
age
have
you
cool
are?
parents.
What age
yeah.
I am?
Yeah,
25. I'm
25. So
yes.
there's a 10-year gap between us.
I'm
Hey.
31.
Shut up, 10-year gap. You
10
look
year
older.
Hey, we can just all say that we're 18, you know,
Oh, yeah.
No.
spring chickens.
I still color my hair. I'm like 15.
What's up, fellow kids?
Yeah.
I'm going to a Blink 182 concert next year, so like.
I'm going full gray. I can't pull that off anymore.
You said Blink 182?
Yes.
All Time Low? Did you ever like All Time Low?
I
The
only
band?
know like 2 songs
Oh,
of them.
they're
Is
from
that Dear
Baltimore.
Maria? Was that from
Yes,
them?
yeah, they're from Baltimore.
They're from
And
Baltimore.
they're doing,
right.
yeah, I just saw they're doing a show at, what's it called? The Rec Room. It's like a,
Screaming.
yeah, All Time Low.
Yeah.
So they're doing a show in Baltimore, in Towson actually, but it's like, yeah, it's in Baltimore.
Counts as Baltimore.
And it's crazy because this is just like an ordinary everyday bar that we just
Oh.
would used to go to in college, and it's like really where they started.
Oh, that's
And they're doing
great.
a show, I think, like next month. It's going to sell out so fast.
Yeah.
But
It's
It's
like that.
next month and tickets aren't on sale yet.
I don't, maybe it's not next month. I don't know. I saw it on
Yeah.
Facebook yesterday, but I love All Time Low. So,
Facebook.
yeah.
How often do you travel to the US?
I go home usually during Christmas and in the summer.
Right.
So
Twice a year.
during Christmas, that's definitely important for me to go home.
Yeah, it's a super big thing there, right?
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
Thanksgiving and all included.
Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving,
That's
but less
November,
so than yeah, it's
right?
November. It's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
the third Thursday of November.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
But for us, it was more.
Black Friday.
It sounds awful. It was all about like football.
Yeah.
Because we
Ah,
have
yeah,
American
right.
football, like
yeah, I know.
a bunch of important games on Thanksgiving.
You watch a Super Bowl?
Yes, always.
Is
I'll
it
never-
like with the full-sized snack table?
Yes,
Or,
and we
okay,
always had
yes.
buffalo. Yeah, yes.
Buffalo wings.
There's
buffalo
food
chicken
on it.
dip.
Buffalo chicken.
Yeah, buffalo chicken dip. Always taco dip. A lot of dips.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah, the
It's
buffalo
just
chicken.
like just
Fuck it, I'm
one
going
bowl
there.
of chicken,
Yeah.
What?
and just all bowl of sauce.
so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that is Thanksgiving was nice, but Christmas and the Super Bowl, and usually when I was in school, we would have off the day after the Super Bowl,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
which
yeah,
was
yeah,
very
yeah.
nice.
I mean, that's an American thing. In Japan, they have the what was it, Dragon Quest?
Oh yeah. There's Dragon Quest. There's this Japanese game, Dragon Quest. It's like really popular.
In Japan.
In Japan, well, yeah,
It's
yeah,
like a
really
Final
good,
Fantasy, but
yeah, with
Different.
dragons.
dragons.
Basically,
With
and it's they released like 3 games, and they noticed like a lot of employers were like, "There's always this weird dip around the same time in the year.
everybody's sick.
Everybody's sick around the same time." So eventually, they noticed that when that game released, everybody would call in sick,
No,
and we're talking about the 80s. So eventually,
everybody's sick. What's going on?
so eventually, they actually ruled that game was not allowed to release on a weekday. They had to release it in weekends.
Why
if
do I
they-
love this so much?
That's
It's
amazing.
such a-
Yeah.
yeah. So they have 11 parts now, and they always have to release them in the weekend. So
Oh
and
my
So
God.
people won't
Employees.
pretend to be sick for
Yeah.
a couple of days.
That is so fun.
That's-
Oh, actually, that's really funny that I pretend to be sick. So when the Ravens won the Super Bowl, my mom was the best. So the Ravens won the Super Bowl in 2013.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was going to go to the victory parade.
Of
I was
course.
not going to go to school the next day. I was
Everyone's
I
Ferris
was almost
Bueller
done
for that
high school,
day.
I think, back then. Yeah. So my mom called the school and was like the girls are sick. They have Ravens fever. And then she just
Like, I love it that she didn't make it embarrassing,
yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
massive diarrhea. Mom!
there's coronavirus.
Yeah. They have Ravens fever. And then I had an exam that day. I did not go to
wow.
the exam.
Wow.
I mean, we none of us went.
it
So
wasn't
all-
just a
nobody
day of
liked.
school. It was actual exams.
That's
But in the U.S., we have like way more frequent exams. It's
Oh.
not like one and done. It's like a few per semester. So yeah, but I retook the test another day because nobody showed up.
Nobody showed up.
Like we don't win
I
the
love
Super
that.
Bowl
No.
ever. So
Yeah.
why would you go? I mean, I'm not advocating
no,
as
but-
the ethics coordinator for skipping school. I'll make that very clear.
Only if Ravens
But the
win.
Ravens won the Super Bowl, so it's like crucial. I love this big screen with the chat on it. It's
Yeah.
very.
That's
I,
handy.
I would love to have
intoxicating.
this. Yeah, during
They're
my
spamming-
stream.
Maybe you should
Yeah.
do your panels from here as well in the future.
I would love that. That would be so cool.
Yeah.
We do it from the level.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a streaming studio there now.
We
but I
They're
actually
asking for your Twitter. I don't know if
Yes.
you're
I
comfortable
know.
of sharing it.
I don't, but I'm reconsidering because I find that like these days everyone's on Twitter. I used to be, and then I think I was inactive for so long that it got deactivated.
yeah, that's possible.
But I do have an Instagram.
there you go.
I think it's Allie Weis.
It's
so
Allie Weis.
if
There you go.
Figure it out, guys.
They'll
yeah,
figure
you
it
could
out.
follow me there. Maybe LinkedIn. You
That's
could
people
follow
still
me
use
on
that?
LinkedIn.
only for professional reasons.
Yeah, Allie Weis, that LinkedIn maybe.
love the
Yeah, I know
Weis.
everyone's on Twitter.
Yeah, I think for industry, especially for games, Twitter is still pretty
yeah,
pretty
I know.
big.
I'll come
Yeah.
back to Twitter.
Well, everybody kind of left it. I think the games industry is still
Yeah.
strong on Twitter.
Yeah, it's
so
really big.
I'll
yeah.
come back.
Actually, for Game Pass, apparently they look for Twitter stuff too. Like if you have strong engagement on Twitter, they really look into
yeah,
that.
if I come back to Twitter, then it would be the same username as my Instagram.
It's
so
Allie Weis.
it's Allie Weis. I think.
Alright.
Yeah, I feel pressured to return.
Yeah, doe maar.
Chat just asked who's the guest. It's Allie Weis.
Yeah.
It's,
Hello, it is I.
There you go.
Do you have
It is
a
close
I.
up.
Do you have a bucket list for your job here? Like that's the top goal I want to achieve, or there are
Yeah.
different
Yeah,
quests?
that's such a good question. So my one maybe like a goal that I had was to make our female students feel more comfortable and like and
Right.
really empowered
Great.
within the community, but also once they enter the industry. And so now we started it last year. We do a monthly highlight of successful female alumni or minority identifying alumni, just to inspire our current students and also any like prospective students out there that are thinking about studying DIE or entering the industry, but
Yeah.
are a bit turned
I'm-
off by that. And one of my goals, but also I have to thank my colleague Luna. She's the coordinator for independent game production. Luna is awesome. She also really wants to start a talking group, kind of like just a talking group with females at DIE.
Make it a
who-
podcast.
Hey,
Like
maybe.
really do
I
it,
think
man.
You
It's
should
like
check
re-
Embracer's YouTube. I think they did a special episode on that.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
I don't know if you know
if
Embracer,
there's
but
one thing that really, it's like people just want to hear people talk.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's like there, you can-
especially
there's
female.
there's like enough white guys talking on the internet. Like we're
Yeah,
one
but
of them.
We were
but-
just
But hey.
we were between guests. We were just having the conversation about why come there's some little amount of women
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
industry,
yeah,
or
yeah,
just
yeah.
we had 2 days of people talking. You're the first
Really?
women to come here.
I've been
Really?
trying. I've been trying.
We've been trying.
Wait,
That's-
well, I'm
it's-
so happy that
there's so many
Yeah.
around. But
yeah, actually, so this year also it was a goal that there were more female speakers.
Yeah.
So Tara's here, Anne is here. There was also Sandra
Yeah.
from IO Interactive.
I tried to
So-
get her on yesterday, but I always missed her.
But this year there's more female guests, and that's also something that I always take into consideration for Game for Thought.
Yeah.
Is like, and I made a boo-boo, I think, but it was a learning experience. The first
Yeah.
couple streams with the representation on the panels, but you learn as you keep on going. But now it's like my first question I ask myself, like,
is there enough diversity?
Yeah, like what does the panel look like?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's something that I also learned over time.
Do you think there's a positive evolution in the amount of women in the industry? Because let's be honest, we as gamers don't really have an insight on how many women there are making the games. We
Right.
have a good guess on how many are playing the games. It's a lot, but most of them are being harassed on Twitch for some reason that's still unknown to many of us. You're all socially inept bastards, but in the industry, we don't have a grip on how many there are.
Yeah, so I would say it's definitely growing. Also, a GDC, they always release a state of the industry report every year, and I remember the statistics from this year. The amount of diversity, especially women in the industry, it did grow from last year. It's not a huge jump by any means, but I mean, it's the amount of women. It's still increasing. So as long as it's baby steps, and each year progressively
what
gets
number
better.
are we talking about here?
It's like
Is it 30%? Is it 20?
No, it's not 20.
No,
I have to check, to be honest. I really should know this number, but
We don't expect you to know it by
I'll
heart.
go check and I'll scream from across the way.
But I think it's like people like you and other and the talks that you do. It's seeing other women talk about it also inspires young girls and young women to be like, oh, that is a possibility.
Right,
it is
exactly.
something that can be a career. Because I manage 2 XDA female students as well. I don't know if you know them, Jennifer Blomke.
Yes, yeah,
So
cool.
I manage her now, and Tamara de Schepper. I don't know if you know.
No, but Jennifer, I know.
Yeah, international student, of course. She's like one of the best in her field already, and she's still really, really young. So it's just great to seeing the evolve. Like I think we started DIA 2006, 2007. I think there was maybe out of 180 students there were like 10 women, maybe.
10 is good.
That's-
Is
Yeah.
an overstatement, I think.
Yeah, but
Or
how many?
5.
How many
There were
staged?
5.
How many staged?
Stay 3.
Yeah, so that's the issue. Like, and of course, of those 180 that started, only like 90 stayed after the first semester. So even there was like a massive drop because a lot of people thought, "Hey, this is an education about games. I like games." And
Yeah. So what's so cool now is I think, but don't quote me on this, but maybe quote me on this.
We will
but I was
actually
gonna go back.
add quote this on this
Depends if
channel.
they like it or not.
So our animation major, and I heard you just had Dirk Lambrecht.
Yes.
It's almost half female now.
Oh,
that's amazing.
That is huge. And especially within the DIE community, it is really growing, even in game development. There's more and more females joining, and also like to have staff look like you as well. Like I hope always that they feel like approachable, like that I'm approachable and I'm somebody that they can talk to if they're going through something, or if they just want to have a listening ear. I think that's also really important.
Yeah.
But the numbers, and also just like the sheer amount of diversity in general, we have in the first year, this year only, we have 300 international students.
oh my god.
So, and I started when I was here doing things with international students 2 years ago. It was like 120, I think. So 300, 120, it's huge difference. So
Do you have a gauge on the age of those people?
it really varies.
Because I can just tell somebody's telling, if I would be in my teens right now, I would definitely look into this industry. You don't.
No, there's students in the first year that are 40.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter. And we can even connect you with the older. We always connect the older students with fellow older students. It's some people do like 2, 3 different bachelors, or are in the industry somewhere, like another industry, and then they take a leap of faith and then they join DIE.
Yeah.
It is not only like 18-year-olds.
And
It really varies.
They also take this experience from other industries into the gaming industry,
Exactly.
which might give insight into different things. For instance, let's say about accessibility.
Exactly. It's also very like intersectional. I think you can take a lot of lessons. Also like psychology. I was never like into games and like digital world, but I see so many overlaps, and it's so exciting to like discover that.
Like
And I
the
think
entire psychology into World of Warcraft, the amount of papers that have been written about the entire Skinner boxing that they implemented and how it kind of changed the entire industry from that point forward is super interesting.
There's an interesting question from Jan Persant. Are there similar stats on LGBTQIA plus people and people of color is there an increase there as well?
That is such a good question. So because I work with the LGBTQ community, I spend like quite a bit of time with the group of moderators actually for the LGBTQ server at DIE, Discord server. That
There's a
community,
different server.
yes,
Just
there is.
Wow.
Yes, it's really grown. So like trans students, non-binary students. It's really, the community has grown a lot in the past years, I think. Also, for example, I know it's debated by some, but like I put my pronouns in my signature, for example. There's a pronoun guide on the front desk that like students can look at if they want. So those are some things that I work with. People of color, yes, I would say it's growing, but not nearly like compared to the LGBTQ community at DIE. It's different, but still, I mean,
relatively. Let's be honest, Belgium. There's not a lot of people of color.
No, and
anyway.
so that's why it's really.
There's a lot of them, but
There.
relatively to the growth of LGBTQ communities.
I wouldn't say
Get
that.
in.
But
No, okay, you can tell me that I'm wrong.
Yeah, but I think I wouldn't marginalize people of color as
No,
it's a small group.
I think if you look percentages wise.
So
If-
it's exciting, for example, that, we have 300 international students from the first year. They might not be people of color. Some of them are, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
But like in terms of diversity in general, there are different viewpoints, different
Yeah.
lifestyles, like people to connect with about like sharing different ideologies. So it's not like you're in an echo chamber, which is super exciting. And that's also the point of the Game for Thought podcast.
Well-
like just for us to have real, honest discussions about those kinds
There's
of things.
a good point. Is making a separate server not
Yeah, I saw that.
counterproductive? Like the safe space is not equally to integration. Like to
Yeah.
It's their own. Yeah.
I-
I get what they're getting at, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure there's a good answer. So I'm just asking it.
I'm gonna say something first. Embracer actually has a company which only has LGBTQ and people of color, but I think
Wow.
that's a very dangerous situation because exactly that is like I love it, and I
Right.
love the idea
But you're putting them in a different spot.
exactly, and then
Yeah.
you get the echo chamber issue.
And you
Yeah.
kind of
So-
make it
Issue-
also this
issue
And
is
if
a
you
very-
look
and a
to your
pedest-
left,
and
there's the
so-
gay
yeah,
people.
Yeah, it's like a pedestal you put them on as well.
So for me, in my experience, those students they want to, like there's a difference between equality and equity, and I think like that's always where the conversation comes back to, because equality is like everybody is given the same resources, like the same support. Everything is the same, so everyone like should be on this level. But some people like start with fewer support resources. Maybe they're like being bullied by other people. Maybe their family isn't accepting of them. Maybe their culture also isn't accepting. So maybe they start at a different level than somebody else that doesn't have those experiences and doesn't have to like be so confronted with their identity on a daily basis. And so if you give them both the same resources, then there's still that gap. So I think what's important for them is to have a space where they can just like honestly be themselves with each other. And also it's like it can be sometimes like a support group. Not saying that it's because it's a wonderful thing. It's not like something to be solved, but to share their experiences with people that they genuinely know go through similar things.
Yeah,
And it's not because
safe.
they're in the one server that they're not in the other server.
Yeah,
where
yeah,
all
absolutely
these
It's
not.
not one or the
Yeah,
other. It's not a
still-
one or the other.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a good cartoon. I mean, it's still a cartoon.
Yeah,
but
like maybe there's a chat room for women or only gay people or only autistic people, so we can turn off the mask. Yeah, exactly. And like to really feel comfortable, just for a bit, like to feel like they really are safe and connecting with people that are like having the same experiences or life history.
There's a good cartoon they made where you see like a giant guy and just a small person, and they both give him the same stepladder
Yeah,
to
and
get to
that's,
an
like,
apple in the
classic,
tree,
yeah.
and the big guy just gets the apple, and the small guy gets the same resource but just doesn't even reach.
Right.
So that's the equality versus equity imagined in
Right.
in a cartoon.
I see. Yes, everyone deserves a safe space to heal in their way. Yes,
lovely
impromptu Pico. Yes.
That's lovely put.
I love it. I see. So I have my phone. So I think Anne McKinnon is here.
Oh.
And she is ready to be, if you want to interview her.
Accessibility, right?
No.
No.
That is Tara.
okay.
Anne, so Anne texted me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anne is...
that's the one from yesterday, right?
no, from
Jerre
also
said-
today.
Yeah, but
Yes.
that we tried to
Wait.
get her yesterday, and
Is it?
Was it?
I don't know.
I think
no,
that was
that's IO.
Sandra
No,
from
that-
IO.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
so
it's not
Anne
Anna.
is from Wristband. So it's a Web3
Oh yeah,
metaverse.
you
yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
that. Okay.
Okay.
But she's here. So if you would want to interview her,
Would you like to plug? I'm
The
putting you
problem
on
is-
close up. Do
Yes.
you want to plug some stuff
I would love
before
to
we
plug
chase
some
you
things.
away?
Okay, yes, before I get chased away. So as I said before, please, if you can, I would love for you to join, watch the Game for Thought live stream, which tackles different ethically relevant topics in the game and digital entertainment industry every single month, every third Wednesday on Twitch from 8 to 9:45 p.m. CET, so Belgian time. It's really nice, just open, honest discussions about these important topics on Twitch. So, okay, I see Tara is here.
Oh, Tara, hey.
No, Tara, welcome.
You're gonna take her spot.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna be chased away. So Game for Thought, please join. Tara actually was a guest on Game for Thought last year. There's also a podcast on Spotify. And other than that, you can find me on Instagram. Tara had a boo-boo.
I'm getting a heart attack here.
You can find me on Instagram. It's Allie Weis. LinkedIn, Allie Weis. Twitter, I don't have one. But as the
Soon.
chat has said, yes, it is. It's lame of me. I should really get on the Twitter game.
Yeah.
So-
Community management on Twitter.
yeah.
Get
I
on
should
that.
get
Do the thing.
Okay, but thank you for having me.
Yes,
This
no
was so
problem.
lovely.
Yes,
We're
it was
gonna
wonderful.
take your bit and then put it on YouTube separately.
Oh, cool.
So
Okay,
We'll try to send you a link so you
Okay.
can spread it around if you want.
very nice.
Because it was all over the place. It's like
yeah,
fries.
we talked about many things, but this is
Yeah.
basically my brain.
Yeah.
It's just like
Join
a
the
monkey
club.
with
Yeah.
symbols.
It's great for podcasts.
Yeah. That,
I mean,
that's
it's a
where
monkey
my-
clapping
monkey-
symbols, but then realizes I'm holding a banana and a mandarin.
yes. Okay, everyone. Goodbye to the people on Twitch. I give you all hugs
All right.
virtually.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, can I have a blueberry one?
Yes. That's one of my
Thank you.
favorites. Those
Yeah,
two
I
are my
wanna try
favorites,
it.
actually.
I really want to try it. Okay, bye, everyone.
Welcome to our improv studio.
yeah.
Normally, we record in a set every week, and they asked us to record here, and they said, we got a bus for you. And we're like, okay. So we improvised. So welcome to our cozy improv studio.
This is definitely a bus. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really hot, but still.
Yeah, it's the cooling is hell.
The whole conference is really hot. I actually left and changed clothes and dropped off my coat because when I got done with my panel, I was just like, it was too much.
I had a halfway the day yesterday. Like I can smell myself. That's
Oh.
never good news.
That's not good news, no.
No, that's not good news.
Not a good sign.
So we are live on Twitch right now. That's the chat. That's the camera. I
Yeah.
can switch to a close-up
We have
view.
a camera
I
there.
will
That's the close-up.
switch that up a bit so you.
Yeah,
And that's our wide shots where they can see my...
yeah.
Hello there, everyone. Hi.
Can you introduce yourself?
Hi. So my name is Tara Voelker. I'm the Xbox Game Studios accessibility lead. I came here all the way from Seattle, Washington,
Wow.
USA. So quite a trip.
Yes.
It was... yes. And no, it was truly a feat. I actually had the travel agent booked my train because I actually went via London for the wrong date. And so I arrived at the train station and they were like, this ticket's for tomorrow. And I was like, cool. I just need to be in
right
Belgium now. So I actually had to very last minute catch a flight from Heathrow, and I actually got in at around 1:30 a.m. this morning. So that's why I'm like, I don't want a Red Bull. I don't know when I am.
Oh wow. And when do you go back?
I actually don't leave until
Okay.
Sunday. So
Phew.
and I did double check that ticket. That one was booked for the right day.
They love your shirt and tattoo, so...
Yes.
First of all, it's super cool to have you here. Accessibility, I think it's one of the most underrated things ever. I work in the app industry, and it's something that picked up a lot the last 2 years, maybe, I think, that people are like, it's become kind of a standard to have at least some accessibility. I know it's hard because it's super expensive to add. So it's still, I think that's the main zeg dat drempel?
Challenge.
Yeah, the main
hurdle.
hurdle.
Yeah.
For now, in the app industry, because of people are like, yeah, we have like 10 grand budget, and we don't have that much extra. But in gaming, it's another thing. Yeah.
So I used to work on apps. So actually what's really interesting is like you can do some base accessibility in apps, but you have to know what you're doing ahead of time.
Yes.
So like one of the biggest misconceptions is like accessibility is expensive. No, accessibility is incredibly expensive to retrofit.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if you don't plan for it and then you go to evaluate and you identify your gaps, oh my man, you're going to blow your budget every single time.
Because Apple actually added a lot of good stuff in their SDK to make accessibility easier. I love that. They have some really basic stuff you can set up right now. So, like you said, to have at least the basics.
Yeah.
As a UI developer myself, it's not always as easy.
And then I think especially even in both apps and gamings, we're getting more tools, we're getting more things available. But unless you have specialists like me to tell you even how to use them, it may not matter. Like I could be like, oh yes, here, just use this. And that doesn't mean you know what to do with it.
No.
Like you need someone to teach you.
We actually had a guest on the podcast. I wasn't there, sadly.
And Michiel as well.
Oh, yeah, actually I have two. Someone with progeria. I don't know if
Progeria
it's the English.
disease, if you know it. It's where people look really old, but they're actually pretty young.
Yes. Benjamin Button disease.
Yeah, that's what it gets. That's what the
movie's about.
Yeah, no, that's what it gets referenced.
Yeah,
as.
that's what. Anytime you see like a newspaper and like people are like, we're not going to explain what the medical term is. Benjamin Button disease. Is
Yeah,
what
and
that
everyone's
gets
like,
referred to.
oh yeah, that's the thing.
So because he has really small hands, so controls are really challenging for him as well. So in terms of the entire Xbox, the accessibility controllers, it's like a very big step already there. And then we had somebody who had a horrific accident he got hit by a truck. Lost an eye, lost an arm
while riding a bike, and he got.
It's so funny enough. Like not funny. It's not a funny story. How I got involved in accessibility is I was hit by a truck.
Whoa.
I was actually 11 years old, and someone ran a stop sign while speeding in a school zone.
No.
And I got out very lucky in that you can't even tell.
Yeah.
But like part of why accessibility in gaming meant so much to me was my arm was like severely damaged, and I had a cast that went from my shoulder all the way to my wrist, and it held it in this L shape. Ooh. And I also, because I injured my back, I couldn't lean back at all. So I had to sit up with this L shape. And I also couldn't go outside and play with my friends. And as a kid, all I could do was play video games, but it meant I was doing this weird like sideways controller hold thing that was still really hard. And so later, when I learned more about game accessibility, I'm like, oh my God, like I only lived that for a short period of time, but the feeling was so powerful that I was just like, oh no, I have to tell everyone. So we fix this. So like no one else has to be, 11-year-old Tara going through that experience.
And then of course in that state, you can't even play. Back then you couldn't even play every game. Right? What could you play in that?
So I could do Zelda because I didn't really have to like do A and B and the inputs at the same time in a lot of occasions. But before that, I was really into Sonic. And I couldn't do Sonic nearly as well anymore because you have to be faster. And I really struggled with trying to hold the Sega controller and hit the buttons. And it was
a massive controller as well.
Yeah, it was a lot. But yeah.
There's a question from the chat. What are, according to you, the accessibility basics in game development? I'm thinking like a button to turn off light flashes or one-handed controls or anything like that. What are the basics you really recommend every game should have?
So it was something I hit on today. Is there are a lot of things that are going to be in every game that you just need to be intentional about. So, for example, your game is going to have text in it. Yeah. Please, for the love of God, make it big enough for people to read. Especially now that we have games on Steam Deck and mobile and cloud gaming. We see games everywhere that like I with 20/20 vision am just like, ooh, what does that say? But like, so imagine what someone with 2200 vision is thinking. They can't read it at all. So like, be very intentional about your text size.
I think one of the best examples for now is actually The Last of Us. They did amazing work on that. I know it's not Xbox, sorry.
No. So like, look, first off, before I worked at Xbox, I worked at PlayStation, so
okay.
I can be a fan person
Your
of
veins
whatever.
run blue and green.
Yeah. So The Last of Us Part 2 did
Yes.
some truly revolutionary things. And when
Yeah.
they just released The Last of Us Part 1 remake that
They
just came
retrofit
out,
that, yeah.
retrofitted, and they did some really great stuff.
I got a Last of Us
Yes.
tattoo.
Like he has
I-
everything, right?
I have basically everything that ever released on The Last of Us.
It's,
so.
it was amazing. But even then, like one of the things that I love about the story of The Last of Us accessibility is like that was a multi-year journey that actually started back in the Uncharted franchise.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people weren't paying attention to accessibility yet, so they kind of missed it. But basically, it was Uncharted 2 or 3, I don't remember quite which one. A gamer contacted them because he couldn't beat a button mashing sequence.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, hey, I've been able to play this game completely by myself until it was like a door. It wasn't even story critical.
Yeah.
And since he couldn't get past that door, he emailed them as like, I can't beat this by myself. And then they started patching in this accessibility stuff so he could beat it. And then after they kind of learned from him, they were like, oh, we're going to do more. And then they brought in a series of consultants for The Last of Us as they were moving forward. So like the accessibility we see in The Last of Us Part 2 was actually like them working and researching for years and it coming out, which was amazing.
Sorry for the smelly bus. We're trying, okay? I remember when it got released and, the Twitter usual shitstorm is like, people, why do you bother? And I was like, I never thought about it. And I think that's one of the main issues. And I completely agree, even though I have a lot of people with disabilities as friends. So even though I am involved, I still don't think enough about it.
I mean, that's so
In
common.
gaming,
Yeah.
especially because in other things, I'm normalized with that, or how you want to say it. The thing is, in gaming, I never thought about it because as a developer, I know how hard and expensive it is in the beginning. Because probably now it will be easier over time because somebody has to do the first big investment, I think, and then people can take. They learn lessons from it, and then they take that expertise into the next things they're going to be made. I think that's like this in every tech company.
Yeah.
'Cause they look at them and like, hey, we want that. And that's good, so we also want it. So I think that's the whole thing about The Last of Us Part 2. And I remember there was a whole mini documentary, I think on YouTube, about why they thought it was so relevant, especially in The Last of Us Part 2, because it is a diverse game.
Yes.
And it all came together. And I really loved that interview. So that's how I started noticing it more. And I love the Naughty Dog mindset about it.
Yeah, they did actually a great interview on how they built a lot of stuff for the Game Accessibility Conference. They made a video that I highly recommend checking out.
Oh, cool.
It was fantastic. And, one of the things that they've kind of showed and they've also taught other people about is that if you are looking for cheap ways to get accessibility in, and this is something that we've also done at Xbox, is look at whatever debug commands you're using while making your game. You can probably polish that and launch it as a standalone feature that's good for accessibility. So like in Forza Horizon, in Forza Motorsport even, we have this debug feature that was made to like slow down the camera and give you that cool thing that we literally made that feature so it was easier to get marketing shots. And then after talking to a gamer with disabilities, he's like, I know where the driving line is. I know where I need to pass. I know all of this. He's like, but sometimes like my hand reaction is slow. And he's like, and it's not that I don't know what to do or that I don't want to play on hard difficulty. He's like, I just want the game to be slower. And then one of our devs was like, well, we do have that debug feature that slows the game down.
It's actually a feature. It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Is it? So, yeah, literally what we did was we polished it and then we shipped it as a feature. And we did the same thing in Deathloop. We actually patched in. It was a debug feature. We already had game engine speed as a debug feature, and we just cleaned it up and we gave it to the player, and now it's an accessibility feature. So you probably have something like that. Even the high contrast mode in Last of Us Part 2 initially started out as a debug feature that they were using for marketing. So check out your debug features, figure out where you can just slap a little UI on and give it to the player.
I love that. I think that's a big takeaway for other developers. So
we've been joined by a second guest at the same time.
Hey guys.
Hi. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Anne McKinnon. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Wristband, which is a metaverse platform. So I guess this is the game cast for the the best gaming. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with Grand Theft Auto. So Wristband is very much like this open world city you can go and explore, minus all the gangster violence, of course. But basically, a lot of metaverse platforms are tapping into the real world. So any concert or event taking place in the real world can have a digital twin and wristband. It's much more than a 2D screen in a beautiful 3D world. It's very much about quests and games and interactive experiences and hanging out with your friends, having a great time.
Right, I love it.
Yeah.
We had Nicholas yesterday talking about Web3.
Yeah.
I know you're really into Web3. Is this a market that it's still expanding and we have no clue where it's going? I think that's a big takeaway. Maybe you do. We don't.
Most of the chat doesn't.
Yeah,
so.
they don't, because there's so much information being thrown at you, like Web3, and everyone's like, Web3, oh wait, that's the crypto stuff. So I think that's the main takeaway from Web3. So maybe you can like go over that a bit.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, gaming's like really high quality gaming's been around for, 40 years with great stories. And if you replace the word NFT with collectible or in-game asset, I mean, none of this is actually new. Just the way we talk about it and the way it's tracked or registered on the blockchain is creating this new economic scarcity and third-party marketplaces. So before it was very much isolated to a game, but now if you could take, for example, in Fallout, like I love collecting things in Fallout and trading them. So I can go to the NFT marketplace and say, hey, this is a rare item on the NFT marketplace, and bring it into this game. So we're seeing this new way that assets are, I guess, gaining value for the fans, but also for the platform and the royalties. So we are early days of experimenting, and I think again, there's a lot of pushback. Like, why do we actually need NFT? It is making things more complicated, but there is some value there. I think that's really important to investigate.
I'm not totally against it. So I think it's just interesting to challenge new technologies, because we're not sure if it's with the right incentive to create new technologies. But everyone wants to be the new hot thing, and that's one of the things that accessibility is doing great. And because Xbox released this, how do you call it?
Accessibility controller.
Yeah, the
right?
actual hardware.
The adaptive controller.
The adaptive controller. I think we did nearly a full episode on that.
Yeah,
like how cool
yeah.
we thought it was and what you can do with that. But that's like a long time ago.
Yeah. We've been
We're
doing
old.
this for a couple of years. So
Yeah. And that, like I said, I don't know if I mentioned it to you or to someone else, is that I saw someone who actually used that to create full plugins for wheelchairs so that they can race.
You can do so much. So the adaptive controller can work with PC and be, with some additional software, do any kind of virtual keyboard input that you want. And so anything that has a 3.5 millimeter jack, millimeter jack, not milliliter, millimeter jack,
We'll take it.
which you can just splice by, taking your headphone cord, ripping it, and start touching the wires together, right?
Yep.
You can make something that the adaptive controller can use as an input. So we've seen actually bringing it kind of into a space that makes sense together. We've seen people do amazing things in concert venues, actually, creating these massive interactable objects that do things with the scenery. So, for example, you could make a giant joystick and just have two touchpads on either side and hook that up to an adaptive controller and hook that into a computer, have someone stand on the joystick and like move it left or right, and have that change the lighting in the room through like additional software, because you can make it just a way to do standard input. So you can go pretty bonkers if you want to.
I think it's one of the most underrated
accessories,
hardware accessories ever.
Yeah, it's great that Xbox or Microsoft were the first to push through on this field, and I think for a lot of people, it opened gaming again for them after years of not, let's say, neglect, but never, the right attention, let's say.
For us, so there's a charity in the UK called Special Effect, and they build these custom controllers for people. So they kept cracking open Xbox controllers and then soldering all of these things together, which, number one, like, you have to buy the controllers, you then void the warranty, and then that only works if you have someone who is hardware technical enough to do that. That's fine for some people, but, like, if I were a kid and my mom had to do that, like, that's not going to happen. My mom does not have that capability, right? So it takes it out of this realm of, like, you have to have this level of skill to create a custom setup. And it's just like, can you plug something in? Great. Now you have a custom setup.
That's one of the questions I actually had to ask from, I think it was Yuri, who had lost an arm, for instance. He wanted one of the most simplistic implementations was, I just want 2 controllers to control the same player.
Yes, that's already built into the. You don't even need a controller for that. It's called Copilot.
Yeah.
And that was because, again, special effects, the number one thing they were doing was wiring 2 controllers together. And it's just like, we can just do that on the console. We don't need to have them, soldering things together.
Yeah.
We don't need them, doing this.
I think it's one of the most disappointing things. PlayStation, again, they don't offer this feature. And it's this really simple feature that they could implement, I think, probably in a week. And already, help so many people. So, if you still have a contact at PlayStation, hit them up.
The honest thing is that first off, in America, we have a very different culture around accessibility and disability than they do in Asian countries. So that's the first thing, is we have a different approach. The second thing was, our CEO, Satya, his son before he passed was disabled. And so for us, we had this kind of top-down accessibility is important at our company that a lot of other people don't. And it was because, Satya's life was personally affected. His son's life was personally affected. And so he saw the impact it could have. But, unless you have that lived personal experience, you may not understand why these things are so important. So we're incredibly lucky. And I know I'm incredibly privileged to be at a place where I have literally the most top down support in terms of my work. Yeah.
I want to dial this back to Anne. When it comes to accessibility, Web3, earlier we were talking about online concerts, that now a lot of bands did online concerts or offline concerts. But for a lot of people, people with a disability, going to a concert or a festival, or people with social anxiety and all these things, it's like a hurdle again to go to. Do you think that Web3 and everything that you're doing might actually be in tandem instead of 1-1?
Excuse me. I don't think Web3 is necessarily the right thing to focus on in a platform, because it's super early stages. So we're really focusing on is this a great experience, and what does it mean for people coming to the platform? So for example, accessibility can mean so many things. It can mean language, it can mean representation in terms of gender, but also I don't want to drive the same car as everyone or wear the same t-shirt as everyone. Yeah. So making sure that we can represent who we are, because that's kind of a part of the excitement of going to a space and meeting new people. But we had a lot of non-gamers coming into wristband at the very early stages. So even if the idea of pressing WASD on a keyboard was super unknown. But when you go into a lot of metaverse platforms, A, they're empty, B, they look terrible, and C, there's none of this game design, which is what do I do? Or where do I look? Or how do I use my character? So we worked with a radio host, DJ Toby Lynn, and she had this god mode or goddess mode. So every time people landed in world, she'd be like, hey, John, I see you wearing that shirt you made last week. Look, I got the band t-shirt too. And if someone was lost, then she'd be like, hey, you go up and to the right, and there's a little tutorial to onboard. So you're really thinking about who's coming to the platform and how can you make it fun and exciting, instead of just watching a menu that everyone clicks through. And then language, I think that's something really special about music, because people speaking different languages who then memorize the same lyrics. So when you're at a big event in the real world, or also in a metaverse platform, you can hear other people singing, and you can hear the different accents. It kind of creates this really cool sense of being together that you also get at a real world concert. So there's a lot of interesting ways that you can make it accessible. I think there's one more thing I want to add too, which is our background is actually, my co-founder is at Indie Music from the band called Miro Shot, and he's been doing live VR concerts since 2017. And what that is the audience physically present while he's on stage playing with his band, physically present. And the audience goes through this multi-sensory journey with haptics, with sense, so to bring these virtual worlds to life. But they can also look to fly in different directions. And he did this show in Scotland a couple of weeks ago. It's part of Unbox Festival. And there's a kid there who is disabled, or he was paralyzed basically from the neck down. So he had this look to fly mechanic, which meant that for one of the first times in his lives, he could move and fly and be immersed in this virtual world. And that was a really special moment.
I totally understand. Yeah, I think there was one question that I really liked that they asked for you. Is there going to be a label on how accessible a game is? That should be interesting for games, of course. On Xbox, you don't have to talk in general, or
in a way, on Xbox, we kind of have something similar already. We have something called the Xbox accessibility tags. So you can go and look and see, does like this game have subtitles? And if it has it, there'll be a tag and you can see that in the store and you know that you can play. Where it gets complex is trying to go like beyond that, because disability is such a spectrum.
Yeah.
And when someone has a mobility impairment, that can be everything from you only have movement in literally your eyes to, I can do everything except move these 4 fingers. So how do you put like a stamp of mobility impairment approval on that? And so what I try to tell my developers to do is like give people the information they need to be informed on their own. So like tell them the options, tell them how the gameplay is, let them evaluate, because they know that their body more than we do, right? Like, you know your body more than I know your body. Like, I don't know what you can do. See, I could be a little concerned, I guess, but it's one of those things of just like, people will know what they can and cannot do. Yeah. And, for some people, it changes day to day, especially if they have a condition that fluctuates. And what they do in the morning may not be the same as what they can do in the evening. Yeah. And so, that's why we talk about just let customers make informed decisions. Tell them how you play your game, and then just share on your website, in your store description, whatever, what all your accessibility features and just other options, because a lot of just options can also be for accessibility, and they'll know if they can play or not.
And I think it's also part of it is also a developer mentality that has to change for some developers, maybe, because let's go back to The Last of Us Part 1. They have this mode where you can basically press a button and you hit enemies. You don't have to
aim
even
anymore.
Look in the right direction. Just press the button and the zombie dies. And I think a lot of developers are scared of making their game too easy, while that's like completely optional.
I've got like a whole preset option. So the whole thing about accessibility is that as game developers, we want players to hit our challenge. That's what gameplay is. I'm literally repeating myself from my talk I gave this morning.
Sorry.
No, you look.
We didn't see the talk.
And neither has any of the lovely people on Twitch.
Yeah.
Like a game is presenting a challenge to a player, having them overcoming it, and then giving them a reward that makes them have fun and like equals that sense, right?
Get that dopamine hit.
Exactly. But as a gamer with a disability, you have an extra level of challenge on top of whatever challenge has been presented. And so now they're doing something that is harder for a less dopamine hit. And when you're a gamer with a disability, that challenge can be so difficult that dopamine hit like may not even exist. It may not be fun. And so when we're giving accessibility options, we're letting the player experience the intended challenge that we were originally making as game developers. So that reward they get when they overcome that challenge is what we intended. We're trying to match the experience based on what we designed. And it's just one of those things of like, because we are so variable as humans, we have to allow people to adjust to hit that intended level of challenge. Otherwise, the reward will not be worth it and your game's not fun. They won't play it.
Amazing.
Love it.
Perfect.
I think we need to ask you for a full episode on our podcast.
Yeah. If you ever want to just
we don't have the budget to come to the States.
Yeah.
So it'll be probably Zoom.
Everybody donate, please. Get her get the plane ticket. Don't make her land in London, because the train will probably be
never again.
No, but it was super interesting. Thank you for dropping by. You can still be seated if you don't
and answer her.
But
no, I will go, look, because I'm a talker. I keep talking, and Anne's work is amazing, and she deserves to have her own time so she can talk about it. Because we got to be on a panel earlier, and even the panel like pre-chat we were having, I'm just sitting there. I'm like, wow, this is fascinating. This is amazing. You're so cool.
If you have a question for Anne, like.
No. You guys do it. I will let your chat. I will try not to trip on my way out.
Yeah. I'll hand you your purse.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you
and
so
thank
much.
you, chat.
We'd love to have you another time. I have so many questions also for you, but it will be another time. Yeah. Wait, do you have like Twitter or something that maybe we can plug?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So like this only makes sense if you're a Venture Brothers fan. So my Twitter tag is Lady Au Pair, which I was feared and respected, and not just by my murderous moppets. Again, it only makes sense if you watch Venture Brothers. That is Ladieaupair. Lady Au Pair. Thank you.
Somebody figure it out and put it in the chat, please. So welcome. Sorry for the
Yeah, it's
weird. Normally we don't do that, but
now
we
with
should-
the timing and
Yeah, the
everything.
timing is-
I know you also don't have a lot of time,
No,
right?
thanks for having me on,
Yes,
guys. It's a
thank
pleasure.
you, thank you. Yeah,
So-
If you change the name from the guest.
yes, I will. I will.
So basically, you build GTA.
GTA for music minus all the gangs, violence, and shooting.
But that's the part of the fun. No. I love it. It's so hard to imagine as someone who's not completely involved in the Web3.
Do you have your favorite city or concert or festival you've been to?
Wow.
Yeah.
I've only
Yeah.
been to
A
one
couple.
concert.
I am
Yeah.
the festival goer of
He's the
these.
festival goer.
We've
I
done
used to.
festivals
I
together.
used to,
I'm-
but then I got older.
I've been to
Yeah.
Tenacious D and I loved it.
I used to.
Oh
and
yeah,
then
we went there.
I then had a kid, so
I
I take my kid to
I
festivals.
can say I was at a festival and Daft Punk played. So
Well, I think you guys nodded towards Fallout earlier, hey?
yeah,
Yeah, so Fallout, you go around, you can shoot zombies, you can collect things, you can do a story. So imagine if all those different parts of the world you went to was full
thanks.
of music and full of games, full of quests. You could instead of picking up guns, you picked up new albums. And you could go and play them and perform them. You could meet a manager, get signed by a label. But a lot of it is reimagining what the concert experience actually is, because it's, as we see with a lot of times, you watch this tiny little JPEG on on your laptop. So it's actually worse than just watching it on YouTube. So we did South by Southwest earlier this year.
oh yeah, nice.
Yeah. We had a little venue in the real world, but then we had a digital twin in wristband. And while the concert was happening in the real world in Austin, we hid a track basically in Wristband City, and the audience had 10 minutes to find it. And if they found it, took a picture of this little art piece with the music, and they tagged the band, the manager would find it then on social media and give them a code to download that track. So a lot of it is thinking about what can you add that people wouldn't get in the real world, but also what can you add to people who can't attend in the real world?
Yeah, because that's, I think the main challenge is a lot of metaverse stuff. One of the best examples I think is was it Walmart, whoever? That they just said you roll with a card through a shop and you take things in VR and put it in your. That's no. Let's not do that.
Bad Walmart.
Yeah,
Bad.
and I think a lot of people have this weird connotation about metaverse. It's that a lot of companies are not really interpreting the power of it and just seeing it as a new buzzword.
Yeah.
And how do I get money fast?
Yeah.
And everyone likes money fast, but the problem is that your users are the base of your money, except if you want to burn through all the investor money, which happened to
Decentraland? No.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
Decentraland.
there's an article that came out in Decentraland last week, which is 36 users.
for
Yeah.
1.2 billion, right?
Yeah, they're billions, and it's just crazy because you go in there again and it looks terrible.
Yeah.
There's
I had
nothing
to
to
do a
There's no one there.
campaign. I had to do a marketing campaign
Yeah.
on Decentraland
Yeah.
a couple of months ago.
Yeah, 2 months
They
ago
were
or something.
they sold a house in real life, but they had a 3D model of it, and they just pasted it on a lot on the Decentraland on the metaverse.
Yeah.
And if you bought the house, which was 1.4 million euros, which is
It's
a lot of money
for us.
Yeah.
you get the Decentraland equivalent. No, you get it for free.
Oh yeah.
With the house.
What are you going to do with it?
Sell
for
it.
all those
Exactly.
for all
Sell
those
it.
36 users to go. Wow.
Yeah.
Especially for those the people who are 50 who can afford
Yeah.
it, who've never used the metaverse.
Yeah.
For now.
But in a nutshell, what would you say is the power of the metaverse?
I think when we look at the internet when it first came along, and also I was recently reading Masters of Doom, which is about, of course, Doom and Quake and id Studio software. And that was really the birth of gaming culture, of people coming together online, but also coming together to play in the real world. And I think we're kind of seeing right now, alongside the original promise of the internet, which was everyone can be a part of it, you can have your identity, you can monetize, you can bring cultures together. And then all of a sudden we had big tech companies. I don't know if anyone's seen Facebook Horizons. It also looks like a worse version of Decentraland.
I don't want to talk about
I've
it.
seen
Yeah.
it. I don't want to visit it.
Yeah. So none of these big time companies and none of these platforms that A, don't go to concerts, B, don't play games, and C, don't use their own platform to realize how terrible it is, are going to be the ones
It's like a
building the
Roblox
future.
for
That's
some-
selfie.
Facebook in a nutshell.
I just got a flashback to that selfie of
Yeah.
with the pyramids.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But the promise, like, for the metaverse is that we have this new opportunity to, fulfill that original promise of the internet. And I don't think the metaverse, again, it's like not something new. It's just gaming on steroids. Because the problem, like the way games have been designed so far, is that you have smaller instances or single player because of the way our hardware and cloud computing works. So right now for wristband, for example, we want to deliver really high quality graphics to people on a mobile phone, people who have really old clunky laptops, maybe they're using their mom's laptop, or, people who are all over the world. So
Is it streaming then?
pixel streaming, it's called.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you render
Makes
remotely
sense.
in like a remote
Yeah.
cloud,
Like
which is just a
Azure
box.
or-
Remote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Google
We get-
Stadia.
AWS as well.
Oh, yeah.
We use AWS for hosting. So you click a URL just like a Zoom call or just like, getting onto a Twitch channel. And you can be in this really high quality cinematic world and with your avatar. And it's just like arriving in a video game. But the thing is that now instead of having like a 1 or 5 person or 50 person limit, you can have hundreds or thousands.
Yeah.
But there are complications, like even Fortnite, there's like a limit of 50 people. It's complicated to have like 100,000 people. But then also like, if you're playing a sniper game, do you want 1,000 people?
Sniping.
Yeah.
In Fortnite, isn't it like 50 people and then another
Yeah.
server
Yeah,
with 50
yeah.
people?
Yeah, they're like
Yeah.
subsets.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
It's
like-
very smart. It's the same like Destiny it does as well. It's like dividing people
Yes.
depending on their location on the
Yeah.
map.
World of Warcraft Classic actually did that too.
Yeah, yeah. What
Because of too
engine
many people.
is it developed in? Is it like Unity?
Unreal Engine.
Okay,
Yeah, they've been super supportive. We got a Epic Mega Grant, which is their grants
Oh,
program. So
wow.
actually, people, if they're game devs watching today, they can apply for a Mega Grant as well for their idea. And that really helped us. We're a tiny team. We're 6 people.
Wow, insane! That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's like Belgian standards. Because I've been working in the industry for 10 years now here.
Yeah.
Like getting beyond 6 people, that's a challenge.
Then you're a big company.
It's
Then you're a big
That's
company
ambitious.
here.
That's
like,
Larry
yeah,
and,
yeah. But wow, that's pretty cool. Like,
I had to report on Ubisoft. They declared that they would try to use cloud technology to expand their open world instead of loading it on disk or whatever. That it would be cloud technology that would be, huge. And I think everyone's reaction was, "No, it's already so huge. I only have."
Yeah.
I mean, Valhalla takes 400 hours to like travel from one side to the other.
Yeah, well, there's that because they wanted to use AI to even they want
They want to expand it to
yeah
immeasurable.
exactly. But I think that
amounts.
the my main concern and something that we've mentioned is like Google Stadia is like the internet connections, for example, in Belgium are utter shite.
It's
so
a
I
wonder
don't-
the stream actually works.
Yeah, so that's a
Yeah.
miracle. I don't know how it is in wherever you guys are located because I don't know
Yeah,
if you
where are you
mentioned
from?
that.
Yeah, so I'm Canadian, but I live in Paris.
Epic.
We have our developers in Argentina, but we have
Wow.
this band we work with. Again, Mirror Shot, my co-founder's band, so he's like the test for everything we do.
yeah.
And he had like this guy coming from the Philippines and this guy coming from Argentina who loved his band who'd never met, and they were able to join the platform. So yeah, you do have to have a good Wi-Fi, but if we're thinking about, again, where is the tech stack for the metaverse or for multiplayer, massively scaled gaming, it's 5G. It's like all those satellites that are being launched into space, connectivity, and Wi-Fi, and like the availability to have great Wi-Fi and high speeds, and also the number of GPU, which is the remote servers or clouds that enable you
Yeah.
to have high quality graphics streamed to your computer, are exponentially growing.
Yeah.
So we might not be there today, but if we're looking at how are people going to play games in the future, you want to have, again, high quality on any device at any time, and you want to play for 10 to 30 minutes and have an amazing experience with your friends. So the stories that we're going to tell and like the games we're going to play and the experience we're going to have are still being defined, but it's a
Yeah.
very exciting time to be experimenting
Yeah, so
in
you're
space.
planning ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard about GTA roleplay?
Role play. Is
Yeah.
that to do with live actors?
So what people do is they go into GTA
It's a
and they
special
just
mod.
act like people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just acting a certain character.
So like I'm the garbage collector. I collect
Yeah.
garbage. I'm the
Yeah.
a
police.
friend of us is the chief of police.
Yeah.
In a certain server, they have this one server where they modded everything to look like it's Belgian, like Belgian.
But like skins
police.
on the buses. If there's a new car release of the police we have, they immediately port it to the game so it looks like it's real life. I don't understand, but it's a really big
Yeah,
thing.
they're
Yeah.
basically recreating a
The
small
boring life
world,
we have.
Yeah, online, and then just act out this fantasy life that they could have.
So-
That's basically what the metaverse
So
could
they-
also provide, right?
They come from work and then they work in the game because you have to get money. So you have to like sell pizza. So you have to drive on a shitty scooter and then earn like $13 to farm
The
up for.
most wonderful thing is part of the police corps are actual police in real life, and they implemented the exact documents they have to fill in when they arrest someone into the game. So when they arrest someone in game, they actually have to file an actual police report.
It's ridiculous,
It's
but it's super
bonkers.
big. I think it's one of the most watched things on Twitch overall. Like XQC is really into it, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you know him. But
Someone
he's-
from chat made the land bus mod for Stardew Valley, apparently.
So the local bus company.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a really good part for metaverse as well, is allowing people to create that world inside the world.
Yeah.
Because now we're getting all these different things. Like, is that something that you could also provide?
It's very interesting you say that, because when we look at games or virtual worlds or metaverses, we can create whatever we want. So some of that can be a twin of the real world, but it's also a space where we can experiment with different rules and different ways of society existing without having consequences unless you build them into the game. So within Wristband, it's interesting you mentioned live actors, because I guess lots of people who know what an NPC is, or a non-player character or a bot. You have to program those, and it can take time to make one that's really good.
Yeah.
Being a 6-person team with no budget, we were like, we don't have time. So we hired a live actor, Eric Todd Dellums. So he's a voiceover actor that's done things on Star Wars, loads of things on Netflix. He was the voice of Three Dog and Fallout. So he came in and was a actor in our platform and blew people's minds, because he embodied an avatar who they thought was an NPC. And they're like, holy shit, guys, like this is real. So people, like, we had this 30-minute event planned, and after 3 hours we're like, we gotta close the doors, because they just were staying around and having a fun time.
Yeah, that's like the digital playground, actually, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I think that the metaverse can really be, is now we have to go to a game like GTA and do that, but they'll never actually acknowledge that crowd. They're basically breaking the game to make the experience that they want to make. But I hope that there will be this platform where these creative people can just upload these models, upload these environments, and people just go in and have, their online fun.
It's interesting too with, like, we have obviously Unreal Engine and Unity as two of the major gaming platforms, one for mobile, one for more high quality games and films. But the actual like file types, we're still getting towards like, what does interoperability mean? And it's like,
Yeah,
there's
I'm
like
a developer, so
yeah. There's like 100 file types for a cube.
Yeah.
But with these different asset stores, we're actually getting some compatibility across platforms. So a lot of, I think, fans in the future, just as they're building mods now, will actually create entire parts of a metaverse. So being Wristband, like, we will have a music themed space and like a community built on like a set of beliefs and like a set of themes. Just like when you go to Disneyland, you go in, it's like, you know, you're going to expect, because it's Disneyland as the brand. But there's loads of experiences inside it.
Except Disneyland Paris, because that one sucks.
Oh, I've never been. Never been.
Everybody hates
live
on
in Paris and
Everybody,
you haven't
everybody hates on it. It's a big joke here. So but continue, please.
But yeah, so I think there's going to be a lot of different metaverse platforms. I mean, there are, I don't know how many websites there are today, but
The only question I have is moderation. It's like,
Yeah.
how the hell do you keep the creeps away? The people of the internet, so to speak, is like the Twitter.
the trolls.
The trolls.
Yeah, let's call them that. It's like, how
Yeah.
do you manage that with a team of 6?
There's
Or
actually
is this in your business plan? Or
yeah, it totally is. I think there's a lot that like we're lucky because we can learn from the entire gaming industry and a lot of fellow startups, and I think it's
Toxic cunts.
actually well, you know, it's good to learn from people's mistakes as well, but we hope they don't make them again. And First of all, like it's pretty easy to monitor who's who in a game. So you can like in a gaming environment, there's a VR chat actually, which is a really popular platform.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It also has a lot of, people who you don't want to spend time with in there.
Oh yeah.
But-
That was kind of what I was referring to. Yeah.
Yeah.
99% of VR chat.
But it's like everybody logs in and they know we're gonna act like animals.
Yeah, but
That's basically.
You
Consequence
can-
free, yeah.
you can not necessarily, well, you can do what you want in there, but if you don't want to interact with that, if they bother, you can put like a little circle around yourself so they can't be in your personal space. If they still know, you can mute them. You can make them disappear and never see them again.
Yeah.
So there are great moderation tools. Also on the
So
back end, having
it's like
data.
user moderation tools. Like
Yeah.
you can like ban people or mute people on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's like that. Oh, all right.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. I try to avoid VR.
I think
chat.
it's really interesting what you said earlier on the multiple amounts of metaverse. I think for a lot of people, they see, and it's being communicated to them that way, is like there's going to be a metaverse, singular. And I think that's like the main issue that a lot of people don't see it happening is, but why? How could it be only one? Because they think, well, Facebook is making the metaverse. That's what they're communicating. But people don't believe in Facebook or Meta, let's say. And that's where the metaverse story stops for them because they don't know about the other ones, right?
Yeah, the language is evolving. I mean, we have the internet, and probably people at the beginning were like, "Hey, can you build me an internet?" It's like,
Yeah, it built me a metaverse.
yeah. So it's evolving. So we'll see. I think the metaverse is really like the platform, just as we have the internet and the metaverse, and there'll be loads of virtual worlds and experiences with inside that.
Yeah. And also, how long have you been working on this?
We launched our platform in September last year, but we've been. Well, I met my co-founder in 2017 back when I was a journalist,
Yeah.
covering tech and working with startups in the very tech side of the world. And he was just launching this new live VR experience. I think I explained it earlier a bit where the audience is in VR going through virtual worlds and the band's playing live. There's like projection mapping, custom sense and haptics. And I'd been going to all these tech conferences, seeing tech on tables and seeing speeches by big CEOs. Here's this little scrappy band doing what everyone was talking about.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really amazing in the same way that, artists can make music on their laptops, especially indie artists. You don't need this huge studio. Like a team of 6 people can do pretty cool things with the new technology that's come out.
Yeah, there's a really good documentary on that called Sound City with the evolving of studios and music, but it's something completely different. Sorry. No, but because when you started, the word metaverse wasn't coined yet, right?
So that was coined in 1992, which was 10 years after cyberspace was coined by William Gibson in 1982.
Okay,
Yeah.
But it's like since that, what I wanted to actually point out, like you're completely correct, is it's before Mark Zuckerberg launched this metaverse into the world, right? It hadn't happened at that point yet, right?
I think, no, I mean, the metaverse has been around for so much longer than Mark Zuckerberg has been talking about it. But what he did do is he put it in the eye of the public at scale.
Yeah, because as a developer myself, I noticed this things we've been making for 10 years suddenly got eyes on them again from companies, big companies that didn't do anything with tech or did things with tech, and they're like, "Oh, we want that," and then we already made this for you, but you just didn't know it was a metaverse, and that's this really weird thing that he did, and I think also for projects like you, just made it easier to sell.
Yeah, the education part takes a long time, especially I think. Music industry has always been the one to kind of use the tools in unique ways and create something beautiful. And the tech industry has been like, here, guys, use it and make something cool. So I think that whatever the metaverse becomes, it's going to be really like the creative developers and the creative artists who drive that and not the big companies. But with the terminology as well, like, what is the difference between a metaverse and a game? Like, I really just think it's like the next extension of gaming.
It's gaming without the game.
Yeah, I mean, the metaverse, I think, is supposed to be like a fully immersive simulated reality and virtual reality, but the hardware is so far away from that. Yeah.
How did you come up with the Boolean on Twitter?
So, my username is the Boolean. Again, I started my career as a journalist working in tech, and the Boolean is programming logic and code.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's also a developer, so...
That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like this really, really cool
It's one of-
geeky name.
Yeah.
It means basically true or false, yes
True
or
or
no.
false.
And
Yeah.
I think in journalism, like it's so frustrating that you have so much coverage about the metaverse with people who clearly haven't ever gone into a platform like Decentraland or Roblox and tried things out. So for me, that was frustrating. I'm like, is this the truth or is it not the truth? Is it fact or false? So that's kind of why I named my Twitter handle and my blog The Boolean.
So there's a blog attached to the name.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Alright.
And it's all about the metaverse or tech or...
I think about emerging technology experiences in gaming. Basically looking at like what is the future of experiences across like things happening in the real world, games, and then what does that look like with the advent of new emerging technologies.
I love it.
Is there anything else that the people at home can visit or discover?
Before
or
we're thrown out because
Before
Yeah,
everyone,
they're cleaning up.
yeah.
everyone is out.
Unwrap ended in half an hour ago.
We're still going. This is the real Unwrap.
Yeah. We are still early in like AAA games and good games, even indies or like big studios. I mean, big studios take like 10 years to make a good game.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they still mess it up. And then indie games, like they still take a couple of years. So we've been around for a year. Have just worked off of grants, been super scrappy. We are only open for events right now. So if you drop into our Discord, which if you go to our Twitter, which is Wristband Inc., you can drop into our Discord. And then, basically whenever we have an event taking place, we open our doors. Because just like in the real world, if you go to a bar and there's no artist on stage and there's no beverages being sold, you're like, why am I here?
Yeah.
So every time someone goes in, we want them to have a great time. And that's why we're
that's
event-based.
basically the experience of the people who visit the Decentraland. But sorry.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
They asked you a question. I don't. The last one.
Completely unrelated.
Yeah.
Speculative fiction order.
So, I mean, I love stories and I grew up reading science fiction. And I also love to write stories to explore like what the future could be and different ideas. And I was very lucky that there's this event in the UK called Virtual Futures. And they were curating short stories and they picked mine. And I ended up being in a collection of short stories that was published earlier this year. So I've also published a number of pieces in Charlie Fink's book. He's a Forbes writer about 5G and AR. But yeah, I'd love to write more, maybe after building the metaverse.
Yeah.
I'll have time to write stories again.
You're
but
building
thanks
the
for asking.
metaverse.
Wow.
Love it.
This was a really interesting talk. I hope we ever have the chance to go for the full experience because we normally, like we said earlier, take very long.
3 hours. Our episodes normally are 2-3 hours per person, so or per guest. So
we'll also delve into their past, what they do
like
with
in
games
gaming
and everything.
Yeah.
So
hobbies.
if we ever have the chance to cross paths again, I hope
Yes.
we get to do a full session because it was very interesting.
Well, thank you so much for having me on here today.
And hopefully you get your voice back, or I don't get too sick because I don't know how long you're staying in Belgium, but
I leave to Canada tomorrow, so I'm really...
I'm going next month.
Are you?
Vancouver. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
And where?
No, sorry, Toronto. You're Vancouver.
Actually, no. I'm from a little town near Toronto called Kingston.
Oh yeah,
I haven't lived in Canada for a long time, but I'm actually going to Toronto next week.
nice.
So tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Go Raptors.
All right. Yeah,
Thanks for
I
having
think we're gonna wrap our
Yeah,
whole
we're
stream.
also gonna wrap up. Thank you everybody for. We're gonna unwrap.
Yes.
Thank you everybody.
Misschien naar Rusland.
I'm gonna let you outside because we're gonna continue in Dutch.
Yes, exactly.
Gamecast.
Welkom
Merci.
bij uw eigen festival. Ja, daar komt het op neer, hè?
Maar niet van mij, hè.
Ja, maar wat is uw titel?
Fixer.
Oké. Mansje van...
Je fixt some shit.
Een kleine improvisatiemomentje.
Ja.
Fixeren.
Hoe was een rap voor u?
Heel goed. Ja, ik vond het eigenlijk keigoed. Ik vond het super tof om iedereen hier terug te zien. Iedereen had gewoon dikke fun ook. De talks waren goed. Alles liep eigenlijk ook vlot. Dus dan ben ik happy, hè.
Ja, dat is al...
Is Natascha juist geschreven? SCH?
Ja, joh. Het is, ja, SCHA.
Oh, ja.
Right. Ja, dus voor de mensen die het niet weten... dat is ook de vrouw die ons gevraagd heeft om hier te komen zitten. En dus... Wij hebben er de smelly bus van gemaakt.
Ja.
Ja,
Because
amai.
it's hot here.
Ja. Nu heb ik even de deur kunnen
Ja,
opzetten, maar
amai,
we hebben
hoor.
altijd moeten dicht doen voor het lawaai. Maar Dat doet deugd, die frisse lucht.
2
Amai.
intense dagen. Dus niet alleen voor u, maar ook voor ons.
Ja, ik weet het. Ik heb het er zien dampen. De reutjes dampen altijd maar mee aan. Ja.
En de unloading nu?
Ik ben eigenlijk nooit niet gestresseerd geweest.
Is het
Ja,
zo goed
nee,
gegaan?
Op voorhand, als je dat goed voorbereidt, lukt dat. En we hebben hier ongelooflijk coole mensen. Hè.
Ja,
Zoveel
amai.
volunteers die zitten in mijn hart en ziel nog stoelen te slepen en vlagjes af te pakken.
Ja.
Love it.
Ja, we zijn ook heel blij met de laatste 3 guests.
Maar het was
We
even
hebben eindelijk
wel,
vrouwen gekregen, want het was...
het was wel even zo intens. Allemaal vrouwen met die je zo uren wilt interviewen en je moet die zo zeggen... Ja,
Een half uur.
een half uur, 20
please.
minuutjes.
Ja.
Zeker Tara had ik het gevoel, die gaat hier nog 6 uur...
Ja.
Zeg maar de Amerikaans, dat was met die vrouw ervoor ook. Je voelt gewoon van die willen blijven gaan.
Die willen blijven
Die kunnen dat. Hè.
Ja,
dat was
ja,
ook,
ja.
Eigenlijk heb ik mijn secret mission om meer vrouwen op dat podium te krijgen.
Ja,
Ja, het
sowieso.
waren super interessant. Ook.
Ja,
Dus,
toffe madame.
ben blij
allemaal.
ik denk ook iedereen dat bij ons meevolgde in de chat, het was echt nog...
Ja, maar wij
Nog
wouden dat
meer
ook.
interactie.
Maar ja, je moet ze naar hier kijken ook.
Ja,
En
ja.
it worked.
It
Het was
worked.
hier zoveel te doen. Ze moesten hier meetings doen, spreken,
Ja.
mensen, babbelen,
Ja, maar ik
frietjes
snap het,
eten,
hè.
pintje drinken.
Zo'n
Gaarne.
drukke dag.
Maar we hebben van iedereen wel gehoord die langs geweest is van het was heel plezant, ook hier. Dus
Ja.
ik ben blij dat we ook hier zo eigenlijk een moment gegeven hebben van we kunnen wat tetteren onder elkaar.
Ja.
Het, is,
Ja, tof.
het was hier ook goed. Het was hier
Ja.
plezant.
Ja.
Daarmee.
Ja, maar we gaan er sowieso nog een pak terug gaan, want de meesten hebben zoiets van, maar ik wil nog meer zijn. En zo, ja, please.
Wel, uw schedule is gevuld voor het jaar. Hè.
Ja, mai.
Ja,
Ik zal
Maar
u
ja,
de nummers doorgeven.
nog wat mensen laten
Perfect.
overvliegen.
Perfect.
Sponsor ons nu.
En Unwrap volgend jaar weer.
Ah, ja, absoluut.
Ja, ik
En
denk ook...
jij gaat het weer in goede banen leiden.
Ja, maar niet meer alleen. Hè. We gaan
Want
dat nog
nu
met
was-
een groter team doen. Hè.
Voor u de eerste keer ook, hè?
Ja,
Ja.
ik was er vorig jaar niet bij. Nu aan boord gesukkeld, ergens in maart of zo. Vol een bak erin gevlogen. Ik weet niet, met toffe mensen hier. Vooruit.
Ja.
En ja.
Rick was ook weer goed gezind gisteren. Dus ik weet niet of het nu nog zo is, maar
Ja, natuurlijk wel. Hij zit dan zijn gratis spot in de kreun.
We zijn aan het missen of wat?
Ja.
Nee, we gaan naar daar. Hè.
ja,
Ja.
nee, wij gaan alles afbreken, want dat
Ja.
gaat nog wel even duren.
Dat, al dat hier
Maar ja.
terug...
Ik moet nog naar mijn lang haar gaan.
Maar ik wil ook namens ons nog eens mega erg bedanken dat wij dit mochten doen. Het was enorm fun. We hebben ook heel toffe mensen ontmoet, en heel toffe mensen kunnen praten. En ja, hopelijk volgend jaar nog eens.
Ja,
Ja.
12, 13 oktober. Hè. Zet het maar in de agenda
Ja.
al.
Ja. Ik ga wel zeetokjes voorzien.
Ja.
Ja,
Ja. Misschien dat we een week van tevoren moeten komen. We bieden dat aan, dat wij hier een beetje allemaal...
Ze brengt er alles in.
Ja,
Ja, maar
daar zitten die.
deze boxen kan hier niet af, hè, want daar zit een wiel onder.
is-
Dus,
Ja, het is waar.
Ja.
Ja.
we hebben gewoon dikkere kussens nodig voor volgend
Ik vind
jaar.
dat als
Maar-
de
maar-
big stage.
Dat zicht is gewoon te goed, hè.
Ja,
Van de
vooral
mensen
deze,
dat
deze
passeren.
camera-shots. Zo,
Dat is fantastisch, hè.
Ziet ze maar afbouwen hier.
Ja.
En ik ben niks aan het doen.
Je hebt al hard genoeg
Kom een
gewerkt
beetje
heel
gaan
het
helpen,
weekend.
denk ik. Ja.
Oké.
Now it's time to get wasted.
Ja.
ja, bla.
Yes.
Ik denk ook dat wij gaan afsluiten.
Ja,
Natascha,
we gaan
mega erg
bedankt.
merci om er ook nog even 5 minuten bij te zitten.
Met
Ik heb het
plezier.
heel het weekend gevraagd.
Ja, ik ben eerder achter de schermen. Hè.
Ja,
Ze bellen mij.
Hier,
Alright, dat is een
perfecte
teken.
excuus om te vertrekken.
Ja.
Merci.
Ja.
Ik zeg dat ook
Merci,
altijd.
hè.
Zo, ik word gebeld. Zeg maar als je door wilt.
Alright.
Oké.
Super, merci.
Ja,
Zeg
zeg
eens,
je.
Je mocht
Alright.
gewoon op de naast u liggen.
Ja, ligt dan.
Iedereen van in de chat die gekeken heeft vandaag, super merci voor de sfeer en gezelligheid. Dat zal ik zeggen. Hopelijk vonden jullie dat wat interessant. Het was weer iets helemaal nieuws met Gamecast. Het was iets helemaal nieuws op dit channel ook.
We hebben geen Pokémon Smash or Pass gedaan.
Ik weet niet als we ooit een keer moeten een Gamecast Twitch aanmaken, maar waarschijnlijk
Dit
niet.
werkt.
Dit werkt.
Ik denk dat echt nog leuke afleveringen worden, ook om te herluisteren voor iedereen dat er niet kon bij zijn, of niet de
Yes.
hele dag kon bij zijn. Deze dag was chaotisch, maar ook wel super. Dat einde was fantastisch. hè.
Ja,
God,
heel veel interessante mensen.
Ja, ik heb echt zoiets van, fuck, ik gewoon nog zo.
Ik heb die hele tijd proberen te scoren, die Tyra, maar ik wist, die had om
Ja, maar
11:30 een talk.
ik zal
En dan
ze
moest hij
mailen.
om 2 uur terug daar zijn aan de kreun. Dus ik ben er juist nog helemaal naar daar gestapt. Ik heb die Allie zien staan, die Allie daar. En zo, wil jij er niet bij? En die zo, sure, bababa, die meegepakt. Die was dan de hele tijd ook naar Tara aan het sturen van...
Ja,
Het is hier te doen, het is daar echt... echt fantastisch dat die nog rap is gekomen. Ik denk het spijtigste blijft... Vanochtend was er nog een schrijver van Call of Duty. Dat we
Ah,
dit
ja,
er
dat
niet
is
hadden
waar.
bijgekregen.
En
Maar
iemand van Guerrilla was hier toch ook?
Ja, en dan...
En
dat weet
Epic?
ik eigenlijk niet. Epic wel. En gisteren iemand van IO Interactive, wat echt wel. Daar heb ik echt een bal laten vallen. Of ja, een bal. Ik heb ze
One
niet, ik heb ze
day
niet
or
tegengekomen.
another, man.
Ik had gehoopt dat ze er vandaag nog was, maar vandaag was ze er niet.
Volgend jaar is er een nieuwe
Maar we
rap.
vragen ook aan Natascha misschien om dingen door te sturen. Dan gaan we
Ja,
een keer zien
ik denk dat inderdaad... We hebben... we winged this one. Dat is echt 2 dagen of winging it. Ik heb al mijn contacten... Alle contacten dat ik ken, heb ik hier wel
We hebben ook
binnengekregen.
2 dagen geïmproviseerd. Hè. Is 0 voorbereiding aan. Hè.
0
Ja,
voorbereiding.
het was ook... We werden niet echt gebriefd over wat dat er ging gebeuren. We hadden zoiets van, we gaan guestvoeren regelen, maar dan komt dat dan last second uit dat er niemand voor ons ging rondgaan, dat we dat zelf moesten doen.
Ja.
was
En
de
podcasten, dus big shout-out naar Jerre, die dat hier dus eigenlijk echt gedaan heeft while podcasting.
Rider en podcaster.
Gelukkig dat ik ook een paar contacten heb.
Ja, inderdaad.
Yes.
Nicolai, inderdaad. Het jij er nog goed bij gekregen.
Ja,
En Deemsies hebben we nog zien staan. En,
Die is er ook geweest, hè?
ja, Deemsies, we hadden hem gelukkig nog tegengekomen.
En wij dan-
Ronald, die zwaaide en dan zo,
Ronald-
fuck you, get in.
Ja, nee, ik zag hem daar staan. Ik gewoon, kom, ga naar die gasten zwaaien. En gaan
hetzelfde
5
met-
seconden binnen.
Met Joachim, die er plotseling
Ah, ja,
achter stond, kon
ja.
even Ben vertellen.
Dus
maar-
we all did our job. Ja, het is hier
ja, we
mega
moeten echt
afbraaktijd.
dringend
Mega
afbreken.
merci voor te blijven. En ja, tot volgende
zo
week.
dat-
Gamecast.